Um, I just had to put on these dumbass headphones. I have a love-hate relationship with them. Like I feel like I look like a super cool podcaster when I wear them, but I haven't been wearing them because they don't do a lot. But right now, I'm in San Diego, and right now my neighborhood's like a war zone. There's so much construction going on. They're just
Oh,
like tear down all these cute little 100-year-old cottages, put up a parking lot. So there's like condos and parking lots just like emerging on all sides of my house. And this morning I was like, we're not going to be able to hear a thing.
I have a microphone that I usually use for all this, and I tried to set it up this morning, and it does not work now. So
That's
I was
okay.
like,
You know what? It's crazy. Like it's amazing we all are able to do anything these days. Everything is such a mess. Like if I wake up in the morning and brush my teeth and then don't die throughout the day before I brush my teeth before I go to bed, I'm like, I did it.
successful day.
Did it. Anthony Hurd.
Correct.
So good to be able to chat with you a little bit. I've been such a huge fan of your paintings
Thank
and
you.
your work through Instagram. And so I was like, I wanna find out what this guy is all about. I want to pick your brain.
Okay. Good
Um,
luck with that.
good luck with that. And also, I'm just
Don't
gonna
be
read your.
surprised with what you find.
It's like that thing when Jerry Blank from Strangers with Candy was like smoking weed, and all of a sudden they showed what was happening inside her mind, and it was just like all fire. All right.
It can
Um,
get.
I, I'm going to read this right off your Instagram profile. Queer, sober, husband, stepdad. And then I added artist. Does that
Sometimes.
sometimes that's some job. I read through your bio today through your website, and I was like, holy shit, you and I have so many things in common. Um, just as far as like a skateboarding history with like just growing up around skateboarding and skating and hardcore music and sobriety, and I wasn't part of the straight edge scene, but I was like very well versed in the straight edge scene growing up, and like I always
Oh,
just had
nice.
this. And so and that and queer zines, and I don't know, we're both like white guys and tattoos and we wear t-shirts. We're like we might as well just be the same person.
It's always need for more than one of us, I suppose.
I know. And I feel like you also might fall into that category of an accidental bear. And I mean that as far as like just because of like your body shape, your beard, your tattoos, just your,
And I didn't used to be. I
yeah.
mean, I like bears, and when I was younger, I was this skinny tattooed kid with piercings, and I did not fit into that world. And
Yeah.
it was really bad for me. Like I just I went to my first bear event when I was 21. I went to
Yeah.
IBR in San
Oh,
Francisco,
sure.
and this is like 1997. And I walked in the door, and there were these three guys standing next to the window, and they were rating people 1 to 10 as they came in.
Holy shit.
And
How
they all three
degrading.
rated me a 1. And the whole
Bitch.
weekend I got told, "Why are you even here? You're not even a bear.
What?
You're not." And I was like, "Fuck, man, I guess this
Oh
is how it is."
shit. What about these open arms and a safe environment and a community for my types? That's funny.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I sort of was the same thing. I was like a long necked giraffe looking freak with pimples on my neck and tattoos and bleach blonde hair all through the 90s. And I was like, just like a riot girl living in San Francisco, just rocking and rolling. And then all of a sudden, all of a sudden, I was like, "Bloop, bloop, bloop, I'm a bear, I guess."
yeah.
I don't
Yeah, it's
consider
about
myself that.
25 to 30 started changing. And then it was like those guys that wouldn't talk to me before
Oh,
suddenly
sure.
wanted to talk to me. And I was like, nah, no thanks. You were a total dick to me like 5 years ago.
Yeah. I put on 25 pounds and now I have some salt and pepper in my beard. And now you want to fucking talk to me? Beat it. Scram. I'm that way like with aging too. Like becoming a little bit older, there's guys like when I was younger, like they preferred older men and like they just were kind of dicks and didn't like me or didn't care for me or didn't tap or woof me back. And now they're just like, daddy, you have
I,
arrived. And I'm like, bitch, you burnt that bridge.
some of it I understand because I'm 50 now. And I remember being at a bar. I lived in LA for 10 years, and I was like at the Fault Line at a beer bust. And I was talking to some guy that I found attractive, and he was older, and he said to me, he's like, "Oh, the age difference." And in my mind, I was like, "It's okay. Like, I don't mind that you're old." Like, I didn't
Yeah,
get
like
that that an older guy wouldn't wanna be with a 25-year-old because they could be stupid.
right, I think you
You know, that
automatically will think like, "Oh, shit," like, "Oh, no, it's cool that you're old.
yeah,
It's cool that your pubes have all turned white. That's
yeah,
okay. I
yeah.
have Santa Claus fantasies."
Yeah, it didn't cross my mind that there would be something wrong with being 25. It only seemed, uh, bad that they were old, and now that
Yeah,
I'm
that's
older and it's
yeah.
a 25-year-old hits me, I'm like, You're cute, but you're 25, like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
half my age. That's
That
weird."
is hilarious. Like I'm so similar but I do remember like when I was at like in my 20s and like hearing about things about like men that didn't want someone that was that young for just like physical reasons or maturity reasons or just body reasons. But it did give me hope that like one day when I get to be the older guy, hopefully there'll be people that want me still. And at that time I was like, if people will want me still when they're younger, that'd be so hot. But now I'm more on dad action. So whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just funny
Whatever.
because I hung out with, like, a group of guys that were all my age, early 20s. We all liked the same types of guys, and now we're all the same types of guys.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, "Oh, that's weird." Like, now you're attractive? Like, I
Yeah. Isn't that weird though? Like, let's say like you are just like pushing some of my like funny buttons in my mind because there are people that I grew up with in the 20s and we had zero attraction to each other and like we've grown apart and I've moved away from the towns that I've grown up in. We've kind of recircled, come back, and I'm like, dude, 15 years older, you're kind of cute.
Yeah.
You kind of got it going on. Fuck. Fuck. So you are in New Mexico. How long have you been in New Mexico?
Uh, we've been here for 6 years. 6 years this month, actually. So,
Wow. I've been through New Mexico on road trips. I've dropped in and through.
yeah, people's perception of New Mexico is pretty funny. You know, they think we're like Phoenix or Palm Springs in terms of
Yeah.
heat, but Albuquerque is 5,400 feet up, and our summers are moderate. We have all 4 seasons, snows in the
Yeah.
winter, but
It was cold as shit when I was there. I remember being like, what? Because it was like freezing. And when I expected it to be like, New Mexico. Woo.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I mean,
I'm
northern New
stupid.
Mexico, Santa Fe, all the way up to Taos and everything, they have real winters.
Yeah.
It's snow and cold, and here it only snows a few times a year, and it melts off by, the afternoon, and, it's not a you don't have to shovel driveways or scrape ice off the windshields or any of that kind of stuff, so
I love that. I grew up in upstate New York, so I know all about shovels and snow and
yeah, I grew up in
and
Missouri, so
and
I
seasons.
yeah.
Okay, so going back to artwork, so I at least remember to talk about the artwork while we're chatting. Um, your imagery is soft and like rugged male images. And I say soft as far as like, I think I was looking at it this morning. I feel like the color palette is soft. I could be wrong on all of these things, but this is like how I see it. Like the soft color palette, but like really rugged male images with like cowboys and men with beards. And I just really like the dichotomy of the two things coming together. It's like leather and lace. I don't know. That's one thing. My main thing I think about with your pictures, like the color palette's so nice and pretty, and then the images are like dudes and wranglers and cowboys hats. Not all of them, some of them.
I'll say I
Um,
I paint a pretty broad range of people, like, I feel like people should be able to see themselves in art, and
yeah,
a lot of, not all, but a lot of, queer art, historically has been, you know,
muscle
pretty
guys.
muscle men and, um, kind of more a fantasy than reality situation, so, um, there's a softness because I do try to paint people in kind of vulnerable moments, soft moments. And there's like, I get asked a lot, like, why do I paint people with their eyes closed so much?
Oh,
To
yeah.
me, it's because like nature historically has been scary for me. I grew up in Missouri. It was all hunters and, truckers and my military family and all this stuff. And it didn't feel like a very safe place to be for me. I played in the woods and all that with my friends, but it just it didn't feel safe. And
Gotcha.
as I came out and started to explore the reality of my sexuality and all that, I think a lot of us like we go to big cities
Yeah,
where there's communities and where we feel safe. And nature doesn't feel like a safe place for a lot of people because it has these connotations of rednecks and just
sure.
so to me, to have your eyes closed in nature is a very vulnerable,
Ah,
trusting thing.
it's like a
Like,
safe place. You feel comfortable enough to close your eyes and let go.
yeah,
As someone who has been yelled at by big monster trucks, faggot, I understand all of this. Like growing up in upstate New York, like I was saying, like I was a club kid for a hot minute and I was a punk rocker for a hot minute and I stuck out like a sore thumb. So I understand this so well because I've been yelled at from the pickup truck. Fucking faggot.
yeah,
Full
yeah.
circle, these are the things that I'm now attracted to, but that's another story.
I had a half pipe in my backyard growing up, and there was a major, well, semi-major road right behind it, and there wasn't a fence or anything between it. And I would wake up regularly to my ramp being spray painted with faggot and skater dye
Fuck.
and all this stuff. So regardless
Yeah.
of even my sexuality, I was always just the weird kid because I was a skateboarder. I was into hardcore music. I played in bands. I made clothing. I did all this stuff. So it
Dude, these
was,
are the words that I've said too. You and I are the same. We're new best friends. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry. I've said these same similar words about coming out and of age. I wasn't always just cloaked as like the fag or the queer. I was just like, oh, the weird kid. So I kind
yeah,
of
I was just
got away
always
with it more.
different. Yeah, I was always different. So regardless of whether or not it was about my sexuality, I had always had somebody challenging who I was
Right.
and demeaning me for it and calling me names and whatever. So, I mean, some of that is good because by the time I came out, I was like well past the fuck you stage of,
Yeah.
yeah, that's who I am. And when I came out, it was very much like, yeah, I'm gay, fuck you. And it just was part of my uh my
Yeah.
my life at that point
Your
was
I mean, there's
owning what
shields
I
you have to
was.
wear.
Yeah.
There's armor and bear. That's funny. Maybe think it back to the bear moment where you walk in and they're like, "You're not a bear." You're like, you
Yeah.
walk into a place and you get called out for not fitting in, and you're like, "What the fuck? I want to go fucking take a shit on your windshield, bitch." Ugh! No, I don't
I, wa-
condone that.
I was very vocal.
I,
I,
you and
I
I are
spoke
kindred
out against
spirits.
that when I did queer zines in LA. It was all kind of, poking at all the insanity of the way we micromanage our communities and segregate ourselves into smaller and smaller
Yeah,
groups. And, it just seemed weird because in skateboarding, it was always I mean, there's always people who don't fit this bill, but in general, it was a very accepting group. And it didn't matter if you were a great skater or a shitty one, and they stood next to each other and they skated the same
yeah,
curves and skated the same ramps and we went to the same places. And just so coming out and then being told that I don't fit in was like, well, yeah, I know.
yeah.
It was-
I still get told that daily by people online, just under the umbrella of accidental bear and like the shit that I post. It's like not bear content, and people get so mad at me for like, "How dare you? How dare you? You're not bear. You're not bear. You don't post bear content. This person's not a bear. Where's the bear shit?" Like this entitled like people online getting mad at me for not giving them free stuff on my own platforms. It's like what? I did write down from your website. This goes back to your paintings and like what you paint is like create. You came to a point that you were craving representation that didn't exist, and I think that's far as like seeing like just men together, different types of men together, men together in their paintings, and like back to the closed eye, men together doing okay. Because for so long, I feel like every gay movie was just about torture and murder and AIDS and tragedy. So I feel like sometimes when I see these beautiful paintings or stories about gay men or queer community, whatever, thriving, I think that's refreshing. And I see that in your paintings, like these gay dudes, like closing their eyes and feeling comfortable enough to do that and safe enough to do that. I really liked the one I saw this morning. It was like in the same color frame of all your most of your paintings. It was like two older men with white beards embracing each other. And I think at my point in my life right now, I was like, huh, I didn't see that when I was growing up. So
Yeah, I mean, that was a big part of it. I came out in 1994. Um, People were still dying of AIDS. The protein inhibitors hadn't even reached where I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. It wasn't until about 96. So not only was there not representation of, I mean, for me, when I say representation, I mean tenderness,
mm,
gentleness, love, passion, because when you grow up being told that you're wrong, your existence is wrong, and that your ability to be who you are is wrong, you don't have the ability to develop romantic, gentle relationships. You become like your own sexuality becomes a fetish. Like in my teenage years, if I thought about men, I thought about a man that, might be drunk enough to let me do something with him, that, might, uh, be bored with his wife. Like I didn't think that it was possible for me to meet someone who actually wanted to be with me and be in a relationship like a heterosexual couple.
right.
It was a fetishized, exaggerated version of sexuality that had very little to do with relationships. And so when I did start dating, so much of the problems that were in my relationships were because it was almost purely sexual. And that's all I'd ever really considered or thought about. So I didn't have representation of like loving relationships. There was nothing in the media, there was nothing in my communities, there was nothing around me that showed people like queer couples just living their lives.
Right.
And so I really didn't know that that was an option. And times have changed, obviously, but just based on the response that I get from my work, it's obvious that it's still something that people aren't getting enough of, because I get responses regularly of people seeing themselves in a way that they didn't or weren't able to growing up.
Well, that's
Um,
great for like the younger kids coming up as well, just because I didn't see a lot of that now. And I mean, it's great for people of my age or whatever as well to see this, but like, especially for like younger kids coming up, I feel like it's very narrow and limited of what we still see represented on TV, film, social media. I still like I complain about this every probably time I talk to somebody. I still don't see me. And I get so angry sometimes and I'm vocal about like new TV shows that comes out that puts out these stereotypical, like entitled, rich, usually white guys with token black guy who's hilarious. I'm like, can't we put out something better? I
there's
don't
like
see me.
there's two references that people use for my work, and it's sad that it's episode 3 of Last of Us and
Oh,
Brokeback Mountain. And it's
I was
like,
gonna bring up Brokeback Mountain. Is like if another person says Brokeback Mountain to you, I bet you just want to punch him right in the fucking throat.
well, what's funny is that I actually just did a poster for Brokeback Mountain. Like the studio, through another company, a gallery that I work with, commissioned me to do a painting for the 20th anniversary of Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, it's
And
amazing.
when they approached me, I told them from the beginning, I was like, I have a very complicated relationship with this movie because I it's not my reality.
And it
Like,
wasn't a gay porn spinoff. It was the actual
no,
movie.
like
Okay.
I didn't have the connection to it that people did.
Right.
Did not, I was sick and tired of seeing every gay character die of AIDS or some kind of
Oh,
hyper violent ending to their
yeah.
life. And
Tragic. Always tragic. The story always was tragic. Yeah.
yeah, it was always tragedy, you know, because in my mind, I have this version of a cowboy movie that's like, it's almost like the Barbie version of cowboys. Like she's like in the Barbie movie, she has no idea that there is a reality outside of her existence in her
Mm,
community. And I want to see a queer movie where they have no idea that homophobia and hatred exists outside of,
right.
like, that they're just in the delusion, and I can be fully immersed in that delusion, and I can live my best life fantasy through this film. And you know, things like Brokeback Mountain, I think they were pivotal and important parts of cinema, and
Yeah.
they were pivotal and important parts of the queer community getting some kind of representation. But I still, like I said, I have a very complicated relationship with that movie.
It's
I
also like two supposed straight guys like doing something overly taboo that's destroying their lives and destroying them. So there's not a lot of positivity coming out of it besides like this glimpse of love that's like just surrounded in tragedy and breaking
and
up
it's
of families and destroying
fetishized.
themselves.
It's
What's that?
fetishized by it's fetishized bisexuality. It's
Oh,
all about
100%.
sex for them.
It's
They've
all
never
about
had a
those moments in the
relationship.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal's role, I see him as like a closeted gay guy who really did want a relationship and didn't know how, like, he was kind of the smarter of the two.
Mm. He was sort of aware. I felt like he was the more of awareness of like a bigger picture, and like he
Yeah,
also had
yeah,
hope that of something that could be if he lived in
yeah.
a bareback Barbie world. No, that's not what you said.
He at least like proposed a different reality and
Yeah.
wanted to do something different. But you know, I also understand that it was set in an earlier time. It wasn't meant to be the reality of 2005 when the movie came out.
Yeah.
So I have to take that into account and, you know, just remember we didn't have the representation to know that there was a reality that we could actually like live in harmony with another
Right.
person and
There are
actually have a
other
good life.
yeah, choose your endings of a movie. There are other directions or paths this could have ended or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that about that. Another thing this morning I was noticing when I was scrolling through your site is like I can't remember because most of your images of these beautiful men are usually clothed, right? Like I usually think of a lot of gay artists or gay focused artists, like they're shirtless, always shirtless, and their jeans always have a, a bulge, and they always have a peak of pubes sticking out. And I just was looking at your pictures this morning, I'm like his stuff is so alluring to me without having to have that, or like there's no cowboys with their shirts cowboy shirt, Wrangler shirts cut, sleeves cut off, and their armpit hair. Um, Maybe you have some of that as well. And there's nothing wrong with
I
that. But I
don't.
was like, I feel like it's amazing. I just right now was thinking, oh my God, I think all your people in your images or muses are clothed in a lot of your pictures too. Is that
Yeah,
a conscious
there's
effort to not over sexualize your images?
yes. Yeah, I really have restrain myself in a lot of times to not sexualize it because while sometimes I do find that the imagery itself can be, I don't want to say arousing, but it's
Yeah.
there's a moment to it. I don't want it to be a shirtless, we're getting ready to have sex moment. Not because I have
Yeah.
any issues with that, but I just feel like we have enough of that.
Yeah.
And
That is
so that's
so,
not what I'm here for. And I do have some images that are coming out in some future paintings that are a little more um, risque, but they're different. They're trans couples. They're like I just did a series of photo shoots last month that each Sunday I shot like 10 to 12 different couples. And some of them were couples, some were singles, some were friends, some it was just all I just like to have a stockpile of reference images for when I have
Yeah.
projects coming up. And there was one couple, and I don't think they were actually a couple, but they were in some form of sexual relationship and friendship, and they met through this community of pole dancers, and so they were very naked through through most
Yeah.
of the photo shoot,
Sure,
and it's
sure.
not just naked, but it's sexual. Like there's just a sexual energy that
Yeah.
comes with that. And so some of the images that I shot for that turned out amazing, and I look forward to painting them. But it's definitely going to be a big leap from what
Yeah.
I'm doing to present that.
It's funny what pulls people in. Like, I'm just a weirdo in every sense of the story, and I'm a complete pervert, and I own up to that. But like, what? I'm laughing at myself. Just what pulls me in sometimes more than the overt sexuality and like bulges and jock straps and visible penis lines and like shirtless and nipples and like to me like I was at a concert the other night and there's this dude next to me. He had he was fully clothed. This was turning me on so much. And he just had this tuft of hair just poking out his top of his t-shirt. And that was enough to give me like a semi for the whole night. So like he didn't give it all, but I knew it was there. And also like speedos, like everyone and their dad wears a speedo now because they really have come back around. The banana hammock's popular, but like I fucking love a man in a nice long board short. It's this weird like I don't want to give an all to me. I mean, people do what you want, but I'm talking. I am just such a weird. What pulls me in more than banana hammock thong underwears at a gay beach is like a dude at the gay beach or the beach in a long board shorts. I'm just like, what I don't know or what I can use and still use my imagination drives me nuts. And I don't think I'm alone there, but I am sort of weird when it comes to
You're not alone in that,
what
but
percolates
but
what percolates me.
I'm noticing generationally there's differences because growing up in the 80s for me, I definitely lived in a fantasy world of in terms of my attraction to guys because it was not something that I could pursue, but it was the 80s, so people wore short shorts and like
Yeah.
everybody's dads wore those polyester gym shorts and
Oh
like
yeah,
so
like coach
so
shorts.
yeah, so it was all like fantasy for me, but um I know like a lot of my younger friends, they've like seen every single friend they have naked. They've seen all of their pictures. They
Yeah.
know what everyone they know looks like naked. And I mean, I do for the most part too these days, but I miss like the imagination a lot of times. And
Even with like hooking
sometimes the
up, like
imagination is better.
yeah, even with like hooking up. I know this sounds crazy, but like because with the apps and everything like that, before like usually you just like back in the day, you just bump into somebody in the street, they'd follow you to some dark alleyway, and it'd be like, whoa, I don't know what I'm getting into. It's gonna be a surprise. But now, like, if you are a person that's sexually active and cruising on the apps and stuff like that, like before you even come over, you know their interests. They like to hike the Oregon or the Pacific Coast Trail. You've seen their butthole. You've seen their like what they're into, their nipples, their armpits. Their you just have such a different world nowadays, and I do like that surprise element still. Like, I don't know. I like the surprise element.
I do too. I don't I'm in a monogamous relationship now.
Oh, that's disgusting. How
I
dare
know.
you?
It's pretty fucking gross.
How dare you keep all that to yourself? I'm hanging up. No, I'm sorry. Whew.
I have I got out of an 18-year relationship 10 years ago, and then I was single for about a year before I started dating my now husband. Um, and I was monogamous at least I was monogamous for
Okay.
most of my previous relationship. But when we first started dating and we lived in Los Angeles, neither of us were monogamous. And even then, before apps and all the hookup apps and everything, I just, I grew tired of
Gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis. Okay.
a little bit, yeah. But yeah, I grew tired of just the hunt. There's like an excitement just looking for
Oh
some.
yeah. Oh, you kidding me? That's an addiction.
Yeah. And when I started to realize that, and also when I started to explore some sobriety, I've been in and out of sobriety most of my
Ugh,
life.
bro,
But
we should talk on off camera. We are so similar.
but when I started to explore that, then I started to like analyze who these people
Uh
are that I consider my friends, and
mhm.
why are they my friends, and why do we know each other, and um, it just it changed my perspective considerably. Now, as a monogamous couple, I don't feel like I'm missing anything because I
Yeah.
still can have all the fantasies I want.
Yeah.
I still can look at people.
Do you feel
Um,
like it's easier being monogamous in like let's say a place like New Mexico than like San Francisco or Los Angeles? Like it's just
Probably.
just
Yeah,
I don't know if
it's a
there's just
different world here.
cuz like if you're just like in this place where you're like I'm not going to eat donuts, I'm not going to eat donuts, I'm not going to eat donuts and then like you live somewhere that like donuts are getting delivered to your house or walking past your house or cruising you online, you just kind of have a donut. But if you live somewhere where there's like New Mexico, there's not a lot of donut shops. It might be easier to not just break down and tongue fuck a jelly donut.
Yes.
Whoa. Whoa.
It's definitely different.
I'm sorry for myself. I'm
Even
sorry.
even last weekend, we went to a pool party, which I haven't been to a pool party since we moved here,
Yeah.
and it was like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot this exists," like, just naked men running around,
Mm,
and, when I lived in Austin, there was plenty of that, but when I lived in Los Angeles, it was a different world, um, and we're
yeah.
not we're not monogamy bound to this in the sense that, like, we're not open to changing that if that's what works for
Right.
us in the
It's a
future.
it's a
It's just
continuous
where we
conversation.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like I said in my profile, I'm a stepdad. We have a 17-year-old that lives with us full time.
Oh,
It
17-year-old. Ah, I can't believe that must be a challenge of an amazing, rewarding challenge.
Some days, yes, other days, no. Um, yeah, a 17-year-old daughter.
Okay.
Um, so she is my husband's daughter through his previous marriage to a man
God bless
that
you.
they had her in
Okay.
vitro, and then we moved to Albuquerque actually to stay close to her because his ex was moving here. They had custody of her at the time.
Uh,
And so she's lived with us now for almost 3 years full time. And it definitely makes being monogamous much easier when you have literally no time to not be
right.
monogamous. We barely
Right.
have
Like,
time for each other, much less anyone else. So
yeah. That's sort of I get that. I get that.
it's the life circumstances.
I love that. Like I for some reason I thought you're because I remember reading that you had a stepchild and you're a dad. I grew up with like three stepbrothers, and so I just and I whenever I say stepbrother, I feel like it cheapens it. So I always say my brothers. And when I was saying stepdad, I know you're just dad, but I know it's a formality. Um, but
Yeah, I
kids are
don't call her
cool.
my stepdaughter. I don't tell. I
Yeah,
don't know. Feels
I get
weird.
I get the formality of it. I feel like it cheapens it. And like my one of the people who was closest to me in the world is my stepmom. She pretty much raised me and my older brother when she was like since she was 21 and I was like 5 or 6. So I'm like calling her step mom feels like it cheapens it. She's just mom. I also have a biological mom, but I just it's interesting the term step.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
like an
I get it.
unnecessary qualifier for the most part. So
Yeah. Kids are so cool. I had a funny moment. This is going to be such a random thing, but this is when I thought you're daughter was younger, because I was just in New York for a while. My sister has an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they are the funnest, my favorite people to hang out with in the world. We would be at the playground. I was like the best monster on the playground you could ever monster zombie. Oh, it was so fun. And I remember it being a weird time, also being like a grown man in public playing at playgrounds with children, because like we would get to the playground early and Uncle Mike would like run all over and he'd be so cool and carry them around. We'd be racing, tag, whatever. And then when other children showed up, I had to explain to my 8-year-old and 5-year-old that like Uncle Mike's gonna sit out now because this is like a children's space. And so I don't feel comfortable running around and like playing tag anymore. But like I'd sit on the bench and watch them playing. I was like, oh, I wanted to get back in and play so badly. I was hoping like one of the other kids that showed up at the park like shit themselves so they had to leave early so I could get back in there and play with my niece and nephew. Anyways, I love being uncle. I guess that the round circle. I love being uncle, and it's a weird time to just be alive, but also at children's playgrounds
That's a
as
good age.
as an adult grown man.
Yeah, that's a good age for kids. I think there's a
Yeah,
lot of freedom in that age. They're not
yeah.
bound by like the perception of other people yet, and like in high school. Um, there's also a lot of different um, situations that make children different. I mean, Beth's an only child. I think that comes with its own set of circumstances. And high school, while she hates it, was also really good for her because it was probably one of the first times that she was forced to think about someone other than herself,
Mm,
and be
it's
in
tough. It's
situations
tough.
where she's judged, and making friendships that require her to give more of herself than she
Ooh,
had previously. Um, but she was kind of a terror at 13, but now at 17, she's really come around, and she's doing good in school. She's in her senior year. Um, she only has to go for half days. She has her first job. She's, doing the shit she has to do.
yeah,
Um,
nice. I was one of those kids too. That my senior year, I had like half day, and I was working at a bagel shop. It was very liberating having my own money and responsibilities. I got fired from that job for not showing up, but it was
yeah,
also a good experience.
I was,
Consequences.
I was a
Consequences.
horrible student. I really didn't have anybody trying to guide me to do anything better. But I didn't have half days as a senior. I was like pushing up to the very last minute just to have enough credits to graduate.
Mm.
But I did get to graduate, and but I'm proud of her, the way she's turned things around. A few years ago, she was failing every single class she had,
Oh.
and
Did you ever have
and
to use on her? This is going to go down on your personal record for the rest of your life. Did you
we
have to do
have,
that?
but it doesn't help anything. Kids don't think about the future; they think about like how to get what they want right now. So that became the biggest tool for us, like
Your
getting her to
behavior is a reflection on the whole rest of the family. Oh, I wish I was the dad tonight just so I could say these things. How dare you embarrass me in public? Uh,
I'm much more of an embarrassment in public than she ever has been. So
uh, you,
that's
you,
that's
you
one of
know,
my tools is embarrassment.
you never stop. I want to see you like making a complete scene at like Safeway or Vons or like store, like just doing some stupid shit and throwing yourself on the ground because you can't get a pack of peanut M&Ms or something. Just like, ugh. Or I've
No,
seen them.
it's more if she's doing things she's not supposed to do,
Oh,
and we're in public. The best way to get her back in line with what she's supposed to be doing is to be embarrassing. So, for
oh, yeah.
one, singing happy birthday to her
Ugh.
wherever we are at any given time,
Whether it's
is
her birthday or not.
yes, yeah. It's rarely ever actually her birthday when I do it, but
I love that. It reminds me of that dad I've seen go viral like for years now. Like he's making fun of his like teenage daughter for wearing like hoochie shorts and like crop top or something. So he decides to cut off his jean shorts and the hoochie shorts and crop top. And he's like, he goes to pick her up. He gets out of the car and she's just like mortified. And he's like, "Let's go, honey."
I threatened
I
a few
love
times.
that.
I threatened a few times to come pick her up from school and full dress and ready to go, but I never actually had to go through with any of it.
That's
And
funny. Well, after talking to you now, like it really jumps right into something else I got from. I really studied the shit out of your bio on your website, so I hope it's current. Just kidding. Um, it was saying, I think this is referring to your artwork. Like younger self never thought it was possible, and it's like you find yourself nowadays being. I love that you said semi happy or happy ish. And I feel like I can see that from talking to you. This is a very short bit about how like you're in a place, and I can relate to when you were younger, you never thought you would be, because you never thought you'd be alive. I never thought I would live past I was 18. Like I had a death wish. I was, give me all the drugs, let me do all the dangerous stuff, because I had this death wish to die before I'm 18. And then now finding yourself in a place where also you're not like, I'm happy, the struggle is over. It's just like, so I love that you use the two words semi happy or happy ish, because I feel like I get that when I see you
I mean,
in your story.
happiness is relative. It's not, it's like, I don't know. In all my years of doing work on myself and exploring spirituality and all that, that I just always found it bizarre that people feel that joy or happiness is like a state you live in forever.
It's not,
That
yeah, the
that
work doesn't end. Yeah.
yeah, so happy-ish or to me is that I have moments of real joy and I
Yeah.
appreciate the things that I have and the people that are in my life, but it's also acknowledging that like the reality is not that I am going to be happy 24 hours a day. It's when I, like you said, growing up, I never saw myself living. I was surprised when I made it to my 20s. And then in my 20s, when I hit 30, I hit a weird point in my life where I was like, I have zero plans beyond 30 because I never thought I would get here.
All right.
So I never had contemplated what a relationship would look like, the rest of my life would look like, what I would be like older. Like none of those questions ever came to mind for me. So I had to literally replan my life. And, now at 50, none of that seems to matter. I don't need to plan so much. I don't set a lot of goals for myself. I just kind of am open to opportunities and I do the things that I want to
Yeah.
do. And I like for life to kind of unfold more than force it to go a specific direction. I
Right.
found that when I
It's like
force things,
on
it's never.
Tuesday, I'm going to do this. And by the end of the summer, I'm going to have this done. I mean, you could have vague.
Yeah, it never turns out the way I want it to. I find that like my desire and my wanting for things gets in the way of the reality of what's best
Ooh,
for me. So I more focus on what's best for me will unfold versus my desire to make something happen.
Jesus.
And
I love when these conversations, because I'm such a jerk off all the time and just making jokes and being sarcastic. But like, I love when these conversations get like very serious and like real. Like, I don't know how you're talking right now. I know that sounds so gay. I know you can't say that sounds so gay anymore. But like, I just love chatting with people lately and just hearing myself and them. And like, maybe it's because we're close in age. I'm 3 years older than you, but like, I'm like, dude, I have no friends. This is going to be like a reveal, like, because I feel like it's a lot harder to be friends with people in the real world. But like, I don't think I have any friends in the real world like you right now. Isn't that sad? Like, in my inner circle that just can have these conversations. Because I feel like this is a conversation like we could have, like, just at the park or at the walk or at the coffee shop. Like, this is not like a force. I'm not forcing myself to have this conversation online just to show to people. Like, I just feel like this is such a nice conversation for me to have. So thank you. Thank
I
you.
have conversations less in real life with people around me than I do with strangers on the internet, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Because of my work, I get a lot of people who contact me to just express the way they connect with the work, and that
Mm,
tends to open itself to a lot of different conversations, and it helps me kind of reframe the way I'm looking at things. But most of my friendships are pretty surfaced, and we
yeah.
don't have a lot of really in-depth conversations.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's tricky, but sometimes I think people just don't want to like talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. I know it's good to talk about certain things and important things, but like sometimes you're just like, I don't have the mental capacity or energy, at the end of a long work day or a stressful day to like just open, like just to pull off the scab and let's talk about it. You're like, let's just freaking watch Below Deck, season 170, Big Brother, and go to bed.
I spend an enormous amount of time online, like just managing my social medias and my accounts, my messages, comments, all that. So at the end of the day, I am pretty like exhausted. It also
Hmm.
connects me to all the fucking news that's happening
Oh,
24/7. So I am pretty like exhausted of the global reality of what's
yeah.
happening in the world.
To
So
get super personally, and like open up and get serious because that does take sort of energy
yeah. So
and
when I
time.
am around my friends, I do tend to want to laugh and joke more than have serious conversation.
That that's good talk. Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it up or not bring it up, but I've been glued to the TV. We can talk about this for like 1 minute, but I've been glued to the TV since I got home from work last night because of the whole Charlie Kirk incident.
Hmm.
And it's just like I've more or less than watching the news reports about it and like sticking to the facts. I have been just watching online rhetoric and people's commentary because people do feel like they need to commentary on things. And this person was very polarizing. So I've just been watching like sort of like people on Facebook and Instagram give their 2 cents and like fighting with people are like, if like anyone posts anything, I'm going to block you. If anyone feels weirdly or odd against my opinions, I'm just going to not want you in my life. And it's just been interesting last sort of,
I've I've blocked all those people.
yeah, but it's just funny. Like, and
Anytime someone gives me an ultimatum, I'm just like, yeah, bye.
yeah, it's just sort of funny. It's just like such a problem. And I also, like any asshole, have my own opinions. And I personally, I don't feel like I need to make a statement or anything like that. I have it online, but it's just like, I never condone violence of that sort. You know what I mean? Like, this is all personally. And I also have to say, though, which is going to tear some people apart, I also feel like if Charlie Kirk wasn't such a piece of shit, this wouldn't have happened to him. Um, Anyways, you don't have to comment or respond, but it's just also people keep just all posting pictures of his like wife and his children, which God, well, I don't believe in God, bless them. And I'm so sorry for like what they're gonna have to go through now. But that's like there's the other part of me that's like, you married this piece of shit, and for his children, I'm like, I'm sorry you're not gonna have your dad because I feel like they should have their dad, even though he's a piece of shit. Grow up with him to find out that he's a piece of shit. They're just gonna have to wait to later and now in their life when they're older to find out that their dad was a piece of shit, and this is probably why he was shot.
I I don't mind talking
But I
about it.
I don't think he should have been shot. Let me just make that very clear.
I I don't have specific thoughts on it just yet because I think one thing that has bothered me the most is that everyone needs to speak right
Yeah.
away,
Yeah, the
and
commentary
I
from the
wanna I wanna
masses.
sit with it and
Yeah.
understand it and kinda watch what's happening, and, we live in the land of, like, hot takes, and everybody's gotta put an opinion out and kinda capitalize on the
Yeah.
moment of everything, but for me, it's been more revealing to see, like, it's outed a bunch of, like, conservatives in my life that I didn't know were because they had such a reaction to all this, and
Yeah.
and I take into account, like, is the reaction anywhere near the reaction that they're having to the school shooting that killed children on the same day? Is it there it's just a telling time. It's a telling
Yeah.
time to see how people react and respond to things. My heart right now goes out mostly. I mean, I feel for their family, but I don't know their family.
Yeah,
So I don't have a direct relationship to that. What I feel for is the people that are already being targeted because of the rhetoric of what's happening in the conversations around this.
that led up to this, and then that I feel like it also sort of boils down to like Donald Trump's like violent world he's created. The words that he has said and spewed have hurt people. So it's
Oh
like his
yeah,
I just don't like when I feel like in some ways I see people now having him be a martyr. That's why in the past I've said things about Donald Trump that I don't want to say out loud because I feel like I'll be flagged and dragged into prison about him disappearing. My husband really just wants Donald Trump to be humiliated and dragged away in handcuffs. He feel like that would be more hurtful, but I don't want Charlie Kirk to become sort of a martyr, and I feel like that's sort of gonna what happens. And I'm also very nervous about retaliation and like now what's gonna happen. Like,
I'm nervous about the retaliation. Considering they haven't even arrested the shooter, they don't know the full story, and yet they've already built a platform around it being the radical left
oh
and
yeah,
all that. So that part is scary to me, but I really do my best to try to not give in to like the fear aspect of everything that's going on. um, I need to keep my head straight for my
yeah,
family and for my friends and for my own mental
yeah.
stability. And I'm reading what's going on. I think the things that bother me is I'm fine with people having their feelings. I don't mind if somebody on Facebook or Instagram or Threads has their feelings out there saying that they don't believe that violence is the answer and they feel for the family and all that. It's when they start telling everyone else how they're supposed to feel that I have a
Mm.
problem. When they start telling them they can't dislike that person in this time because this is not a time to politicize thing,
Oh,
when that's literally what happens consistently across the board on the right is everything is politicized, and just so many weird double
then
standards. And
people you don't know, yeah, micromanaging like how you're supposed to represent yourself. I'm just
yeah,
mostly out of this thing. Like I just really thought of it now. Like out of all the things that have come out, I'm just now curious, and I'd love to have a discussion with people that are way smarter than myself. Like, how did we get here? How did we get there? You know what I mean? Like, that's sort of where I stopped this morning because I was so much, like saying so much online and different news channels, Fox News reporting this, MSNBC saying this, like, all my friends in Postbook are saying this. And like, it's just like, I'm really curious. Let's all talk about how we got here. But I don't
well,
think it's,
we don't have any control over how we got here. Like,
yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but if I focus on how we got here, I mean, I listen to podcasts consistently on the history of the United States and
Mm,
just the fascist regimes that have existed previous, and understanding the kind of play by play of how we got here. But
yeah.
I try to focus more on what can I do right now,
Yeah. What are we going to do about it?
and I'm not even going to do about it. There's nothing I can do about what has happened. What can I do right now? I try to figure
You
out
can do.
what I can do, and what I can do is raise money to help people in my community. What I can do is make bags that I give out to homeless people. I can make impacts on things in my life today. I can't change the perception of the world around me. I can't stop people from harming themselves or others. I can't make the world a better place by forcing my opinions on it, but I can make my world better. And if people were maybe more focused on that, we would have less
Right. And then
uh, efforts of people trying to destroy everybody else's lives.
let's have less grown men obsessed about other people's genitals. Period.
It's we just live in a really bizarre time, and there's not a comparison. I mean, we have models of how this has happened previously, but we don't have a model of how that compares to where we are right now. We never had media that reached so many people in so many ways before today.
So
And
fast.
and we never
Yeah,
had
so
it.
fast.
We never had a fascist regime take over a country as big as ours. We're so spread out. We're not a
Yeah.
small country where
And so
people can easily
populated, yeah.
congregate and get together and force change. We're seeing what's going on in other countries, and we can't just propagate and do the things that other people are doing. We have to do it our own way. It's just a bizarre
Yeah.
time.
It's it is a bizarre time. So, I w that's why I'm so glad that people like yourself, Anthony Hurd, are doing these beautiful I'm trying to do full circle. Beautiful portraits and paintings that I can escape in. I can imagine a beautiful world of two grown men sitting near a fireplace. They just cracked open a can of beans. They shared a can of beans, and then they just took a nap next to the campfire. So thank you for this beautiful artwork that can really take people out of all this suffering that's happening. Um,
That's all I can.
and what's next for you? What are you working on? What can people, I'm going to put all your Instagram links and that kind of stuff. Like, how can people support you? Artists need to be supported, period. Is
Um,
there some way that's best that people can follow you, support you?
Follow me, that's fine. If they don't want to, that's fine too. I figure it all works out in the wash. I have lots of projects coming up. I'm working on the volume 2 of my book. I'm working on a coloring book of 30 different images. I'm
Oh,
working on shows for next year and tons of commissions and just
oh, that's
staying
amazing.
busy.
I'm so happy to hear all of this.
Be kind of in a follow-up to what you were saying about my work is that is this is my protest. Like, this is what I can do to contribute to what's going on in the world, is by creating imagery that, even if it
Yeah.
helps calm someone for a moment while they're looking at it, or gives them time to breathe, then I've more than done
Yeah. Like,
my job.
just take one deep breath and like look at your paintings, which I would love to have in my wall someday. We'll talk. We'll make that happen because we need to pay artists for doing their work. What is your husband's name? Trey. That's a good name. Trey, you got a good man. It's really great to talk to you. Like, I don't know, like I am such a pessimist and I think the worst of people. And so anytime I meet someone, I think they're just going to be, I don't know, a shithead. And you again are another person that I've met that are such a fine, decent person, like in my eyes. Like, I know I've said that before to somebody else, but I'm like, I just expect everyone just to be self-absorbed assholes. And like, you are, from what I can tell, such a solid, decent fellow. And it's like, I think it's so important for men of our age because we are role models for younger people. Um, I don't know. I wish we were closer and
Try.
your husband would let us like hold hands because we could just hold hands and be like, it was so nice to meet you. And let's talk again. I'm gonna have my eyes peeled for your second book that's coming out.
Sounds good.
And let's talk and say hi to the beautiful rolling valleys of New Mexico. What are they, hills or
We have
valleys?
both. Yeah. We
Okay.
we
And
have hills
I
and
I want to come to like New Mexico and just go on some hike, and within the hike it's like a gay campground, but all the camps are set up like your beautiful paintings of just men in these beautiful like country outfits and just having these beautiful, really nice, sweet, nurturing moments. Like, you should make a short film like that, just campsite full of men from your pictures.
I've thought about
I would book a ticket to that campground.
it.
All right. Well, let's talk again soon.
All right.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Great day. Bye.